Welcome back to Fridley, Minnesota. My name is Dave Vinson alongside David Fink for these USHA Four-Wall National Games, the championships here at Lifetime Fitness, featuring Paul Brady and Luis Moreno here on the show court, Dave. And these two have had a history, they have a following, and there's a legacy between the two, it seems, as it dates back to when Luis Moreno first defeated Paul Brady in 2008 at the U.S. Open in the quarterfinals, and then that big clash and all that social media clash that also took place before the Worlds 2012, and then what Paul Brady did there in the finals of the Worlds, and then so forth. I remember that great game that they played in Denver, Colorado at the Pro Stop that we had.
Right, it's been some exciting matches since that 2008 upset by a teenage Luis Moreno. But remember, Dave, Paul Brady's won all those matchups, including the two matches they played this season where Paul Brady won very easily at the finals of the U.S. Open and the semifinals of New York. Now, there have been some great matches. You alluded to that match in Denver a couple of years ago, 2014. Certainly one of the best matches we've ever broadcast. And you also go back to that 2012 World Championship final. That was electric. We're hoping to see more of the same today. Paul Brady yesterday, Dave, didn't look like he was firing on all cylinders. Luis Moreno did what he had to do yesterday. Also didn't look like he was at the top of his game. But when these great players meet, Dave, a lot of times they bring out the best in one another. I hope that's what's going to happen today.
Paul Brady got here by defeating Abraham Montijo yesterday, 21-10, 21-8. It was Luis Moreno getting past Emmett Peixoto, 21-11, 21-16. Both of those games against Emmett, Luis was down to start the match. Deficits of about 9-2, 9-3, respectively, if we look from game 2 back to game number 1. And then he went on a blistering pace with some amazing serves. Paul Brady looked like he faded a little bit in both of his games against Abraham Montijo, but then finished strong. And at one point even reached down and grabbed his, what looked to be like his groin or his inner thigh. And then later on social media, Paul set the record straight by going online and saying that his leg is 100%. It's his to win, and that he has it all stretched out and it got a little tight, so it's not really an injury.
Well, some would call that an oversell, Dave, trying to put it in his opponent's mind. I'm not hurt. I'm coming out publicly, and I'm going to say that, I'm not hurt. I happen to believe that he is injured, Dave. I saw some lingering effects, some limping in Portland just about a month ago, and yesterday I saw a lot of tightness. There were 4 or 5 balls that Paul Brady would normally get to with ease. Yesterday he didn't get his hand on them before the second bounce, and that was an indication to me that something is not quite right. Now, whether he admits it or not, it's just something, Dave, that I'm seeing based on watching Paul Brady for the last 12 or 13 years and how well he's moved. And Dave, I know that you picked up on something as well, particularly during one of those timeouts yesterday where Paul was kind of grabbing that groin adductor area on his right leg. And, of course, as you said, denounced that on Facebook.
Well, I noticed that during the timeout, he was actually walking with these little tiny baby steps as if that he did not want to stretch it out too far when he took a regular adult step. And then during the actual match, he had a couple lucky shots go in his favor, got a few points. He developed a couple points with using all arm and no leg, and then it was really hard for us to judge whether his leg work was bad or he was just, scoring amazing points for no apparent reason, and he really didn't have it tested from that point on. So it was hard to tell, and then I guess he tried to set the record straight on social media.
Well,
no controversy. It's just that, he appears to look perfect here as Luis Moreno finally makes it to the court here at 4 minutes after 9. This is his initial warm-up. You saw Tom Sove, who is the rules director, look at his watch there from our camera angle and then look back down again, and he's telling, obviously telling somebody, one of the handlers or Luis himself, that he needs to get onto the court.
Well, when Mr. Sove has that clipboard out, you know that you're in some hot water. And right now, Luis is treading thin before the first ball has even been struck. And I think this will favor Paul Brady. You said, Dave, that Luis trailed yesterday 9-3 in both games. He can't afford to get off to those kind of starts against Paul Brady because Paul Brady knows how to close out. He's going to take that lead and stretch it or just cruise and maintain that 6 or 7 point lead throughout the game. Luis Moreno yesterday was able to rely on that great serve. He got a lot of aces and free points, easy first strike kill shot opportunities in making those comebacks in both games. But Paul Brady's not going to give you those opportunities. He has a way of taking away your aces and also defending even your best serves and forcing you to rally and really earning every point.
Okay, our referee has both players center court here, and Luis Moreno from Tucson, Arizona will be serving first. Here's the announcement.
From Tucson, Arizona. And we have Paul Brady from Ireland. Good luck, gentlemen. Game 1, score is 0, serving 0. Short.
Dave, if Paul in fact does have that type of groin or adductor injury, and a quick point for Luis, that's the type of injury, Dave, that actually gets worse throughout a match. You can start the match feeling fine, and it's just one bad move, and all of a sudden it's inflamed or aggravated. We saw that with Nani Alvarado Jr., Dave, in the finals of the senior race for US Open in 2015, where he started off against Marco Chavez with a similar type of injury, looked fine for a game and a half, then all of a sudden it was one bad move, he couldn't walk anymore. I'll still speculate here, obviously, but
I don't know why you just won't take Paul Brady's word for it. He said it was just it tightened up and he stretched it out and he feels good. Second serve here, 2-0. Luis Moreno looks really good here to start off, and as I say that, there is a hand air. Paul Brady makes the perfect return of serve and gets back into the box. Score should say 0-2, Brady serving.
Two, serving 0. Short.
These two played in March, Dave, at the New York Athletic Club.
Second serve.
Luis came into that match looking really good earlier in the day in the quarterfinals, taking out Emmett Pichot, just as he did here in this event before facing Paul Brady. But for whatever reason, didn't look great against Paul Brady in that match, losing in 2 lopsided games. Just didn't seem to be making his shots.
Same score, 2, serving 0.
I felt good. I just wasn't able to execute. Dave, I know you remember that match Saturday evening. New York Athletic Club, Paul Brady winning that event.
Little screen there, no call from the referee. And I don't think the ref's going to give it to Paul.
I thought you had a handle on it. I thought you had a handle on it. I'm calling it a point.
Oh, that's a tough one. I actually thought that was a screen. I didn't even see the referee looking at Paul during that
3,
screen.
serving 0.
Dave, I disagree with that call.
Hold it.
It's
3, serving 0.
Calls in a row here early in this match. Now, Dave, this is our referee's first experience refereeing a pro
0,
semifinal.
serving 3.
He's got the butterflies as well, obviously.
Luis Moreno's going for his shots already early here and converting.
3, serving 0. Short.
Polar opposite.
Second serve.
Start yesterday. I already see a huge difference, Dave, in Luis's footwork here today compared to yesterday. Still think, though, that he's hitting too many shots with an open stance. He's not going to be able to end rallies against Paul Brady with that open stance.
So very
0 serving 3.
He had that, would have given him a 4-0 lead. Instead, he turns that plum into a bigger plum for Paul. Paul finally gets on the scoreboard, Dave. 5 serves before he scored 1 point.
1 serving 3. Short. Second serve. Two serving 3.
Dave, remember it was Luis serving at 3-0. They had that long rally, 26 shots. Luis had a huge backdoor setup right down the right hand. He overhits it, gives Paul the setup. Instead of it being 4-0, Paul comes in serving, and he's now scored 4 straight points.
4 serving 3.
It's little things like that,
Short
Dave,
ball.
and I know that you see that in other sports. Steph Curry getting called with those early fouls and then the late fouls, and it changes things.
Second serve.
I happen to think Cleveland in any way, but it does change things.
Well, both of these players are rhythm players. You break the rhythm, and if you're a fan, you just hope they get back into rhythm again. But if they don't, the other one easily could. And that's what we've seen so far. We had a 3-point run. 3-point run and then a 4-point run, and now Moreno has tied it at 4, trying to go on his own run again. And I recall a lot of their matches being like that. That was a flat rollout right there from Luis Moreno, making it 5-4.
We talked about Luis not going to be able to get those free points on his serve, but already have his 5 points, 2
5 serves 4.
Paul dips that ball in. Now 6-4 is what the scoreboard should read.
6 serving 4.
And that's what Paul was trying to do with the last shot. An error by Paul Brady and a flat rollout from Luis Moreno.
Timeout at 7-4. That's your first.
Really in control here. Davey scores the first 3, makes an error. Paul gets in and scores 4 straight. Now it's Luis on a 4-point streak. And a timeout from Paul Brady.
So it's a game of runs. These guys just have a knack of scoring points in numbers, and that's been sort of what they've done throughout their career. And this is what happens when 2 of those type of guys meet. You'll see this sort of thing happen when Alan Garner would face Sean Lenning, or Luis Moreno and Armando Ortiz, for example. You would see a 4 or 5 point run, and then the other one would come in with another 7 points. And the end score sometimes is close. Sometimes it has a bigger gap because that run came late, and the scoreboard looks like it wasn't close. But you and I both know that it is close. There's a lot of lead changes, so to speak.
Well, you remember in the 2012 World Championship final, Luis Moreno raced a 14-4 lead, only to lose that game 21-19. So a lot of runs that match. That was one of the most high-quality matches we've seen. This one so far.
Resuming play. The score is 7 serves 4.
High level. Paul having a hard time picking up the ball there, but Luis with a quick point, Dave, needs just 2 swings.
8 serving 4.
Following that 60-second timeout. And now he's doubling up Paul Brady at 8-4.
Hold it! Hold it. Eight serving 4. It was going down, Paul.
Paul's looking for a
Paul
slide.
hit his shoe. It hit his shoe, Paul. No question.
If it's an aggressive referee, he's wouldn't call him definitely good play.
Score is 9 serving 4.
There it is, 9-4 here. Moreno on a 6-0 run. Make that 7-0 now.
That's a low percentage shot, but Luis decided to go for it, and he catches
10
it
serving
hits
4.
the ball with so much spin out. And when he catches the sidewall low, it usually stays down.
There's a nice shot from Paul Brady. That's that shot that you said that you think that he should put on the poster.
Yeah, 1 of 7.
4 serving
on the
10.
collage. And another error from Paul, and it just seems like every time Paul has a
10
look,
serving 4.
the ball on the ground or just not able to put the ball away. Serve.
Wow, that was impressive right there. That's a reverse, right? Or no, excuse me, that's
No, it was a reverse.
Yeah, reverse
a double
down there.
bouncer. Yeah.
11 serving 4.
Dave, let's take the hypothetical Paul Brady injury out of the equation and say that he's not injured. How much does that loss in Portland affect his confidence and maybe give confidence to somebody like Luis Moreno?
who wasn't in Portland.
Right, but still knows the results.
Yeah, but not going to Portland
4
would seem
serving
to
11.
sort of counter that argument, saying that how much
Sure ball.
confidence lost Moreno have for not even being there. I know that's not the question, but the two seem to
Second
offset
serve.
each other.
Well, he's played in 2 pretty big events since Portland, so I think he's built up a lot of confidence playing against Armando Ortiz, Sean Lenning,
Oof.
some of
see
these other
that?
top guys.
You see that left-handed kill right there
Wow,
from
Paul
Luis
Brady
Moreno?
makes a huge mistake there on that
11
tee
serving
serve. That
4.
came out at 33 feet on a tee, and that's going to be a kill shot 95% of the time for Luis Moreno.
Oh, I had a slight miss right there from Moreno. Circle the scorecard, Dave.
I don't think so. Luis fundamentally there was not in a great position. Stood straight up there on his back foot and tried to drive that ball 2 inches high. Just too much descending angle
4
coming in
serving
there.
11.
Great return from Luis. Incredible rally there, both guys. Luis should have won it twice. Paul Brady makes a mistake on that
5
three-wall
serving
wrap
11.
round, but Luis tries to punch fist it. Does
Sure
not put
ball.
it away. And Paul Brady, David, just seems like has to hit so many shots to win 1 point.
Second serve.
Certainly not getting any easy points thus far. And of course, there's the announcer's curse that goes against Luis as Paul Brady gets a routine
6 serving 11.
2 swing.
Now,
7 serving 11.
Paul Brady's going on a nice little run of his own here. 3 straight.
Paul had scored 3 points in his last 5 swings up until that last error, and that was a good look.
11 serving 7.
4th straight point.
Referee's not going to give it to Paul. Felt that Paul was looking for that safety hold, though, Dick. Turn back immediately to the referee. I know you disagree with safety holds, but
12 serving 7.
Paul did modify his swing, and he also had that same arm snapped by Moreno at the U.S. Open, if you recall. When they got too close to each other, he turned around immediately and looked at the referee, not
Second
given to
serve.
the ref.
I think that was a screen than a backswing issue. But either way, not called. You're right, Dave. Amazing gets.
Wow, and he earned that.
2 straight incredible retrieves from Luis Moreno, who, when he goes into clampdown mode, Dave, just seems to get everything.
Well, he's in clampdown mode
13
right now,
serving
and
7.
I think this is the earliest I've seen Luis take it up a tier. I mean, he's very active right now, breathing pretty hard through his mouth there.
Hold it. We'll call an
And
avoidable
I
on
think
that.
Paul's going to
Oh,
unavoidable.
You stood
I thought
right
he
in
was
front of
going
the
to
setup.
Paul was
You
upset.
stood
with
right
the
in front of
hold.
the setup.
Paul was upset with the hold. Paul thought it was going to be called a screen,
can't believe this.
and Paul didn't like that. He wanted to play through it because he had an opening.
Coming right back like this is.
You didn't even move.
Have a chance to move.
You didn't make an attempt to move.
What do you mean?
And Paul Brady had a clear.
Too quick.
Paul Brady was right behind you.
That's Tyree
Too
Bastidas.
fast, Tyree.
It was up this high, Moreno.
I know you should understand the ball was still fast. I'm not saying it was low or.
You're taking away his opportunities. I can't let you do that. Come on, let's go. Play ball.
Gosh.
That is That's an unbelievable call. See, now
Timeout
Paul was
call.
upset because
Right.
Timeout at 13-7.
he thought that the referee was going to stop play, Dave, and Paul had a setup. I mean, at least in his mind, he knew that Luis was out of position. You're going to look here, and Paul turns around really quickly, not happy.
This is an unthinkable, avoidable call here. I mean, Luis went to his left, the only place he could have gone. It's not as though he stood still or went to his right. He went to his left to get out of the way and took away his court position and gave Paul the whole right side of the court. And the referee still calls an avoidable. I don't know what else he could have done there, Dave, to get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, this would mean that all of those times that Dave Chapman hit the ball back at himself, it would be an avoidable.
Well, everything's if that's an avoidable, then everything's an avoidable for the most part.
I like what Luis Moreno said. He said he hit the ball 100 miles an hour. What am I supposed to do? I mean,
Luis.
it's coming at me 100 miles an hour. Well, nonetheless, it's an emotional game. I certainly don't want to get emotional here, but that was just a strange call, and it's been, I wouldn't even say it's been equal. I have the scorecard circled 4 times against Paul and once against Luis here. But it's one of the rare times that an avoidable call gets both of the players upset.
I don't
Resuming
think
play.
Paul's too upset about
He
it.
isn't
Score is
upset now.
7, serving 13.
Let's see what happens here now. 7-13.
Terrible serve from Paul. And Luis makes the routine down the right wall kill.
And he points toward the handball gods there.
13, serving 7. Short ball. Second serve. Short.
Double fault from Luis Moreno. Second serve, short ball, side out. Paul Brady serving.
7 serving
remember
13.
He's had a lot of success with his second serve as well. So I think if you're going to go for it, you have to be willing to.
Wow, that's amazing.
To accept a double fault. But that was an amazing point from
8
Paul.
serves 13.
I mean, Luis is standing on the wall, and Paul still hits it so hard it goes right by him there. And the crowd clearly in favor of Moreno here.
13 serving 8.
Wow. Oof.
Second serve.
Moreno does it again, gets the 15th point. Brady goes down on one knee, ball slides right through his legs, and there is another point on the scoreboard.
14 serving 8.
The referee called the score wrong. That should be 16-8 now.
15 serving 8.
Oh, no.
I think that serve before was short. Dave, yesterday the Americans were outscored 2-1, 126-63.
16
in
serves
3
8.
matches featuring Irish versus USA. Today,
Short.
it's
He's
USA
appealing the
up
serve. One agrees.
16-8.
Both agree. Second serve.
See, Dave, that's what a short ball sounds like when the referee calls it.
Second
He yells
serve.
it out. He didn't yell it previously. The score should be 17-8. They had a 6-shot rally that Luis hit a kill shot 2 inches high.
Second serve.
Paul Brady went down on one knee. And the referee did not award the point on his scorecard. There's a point now for Luis Moreno, making it 17-8. Should be 18.
17 serving 8.
I don't need to. I actually watched it. Our scoreboard's wrong now, but it should say 17-8. And will. There it is. Make it 18-8.
Timeout at 18-8. That's
And a
your
timeout.
second.
Timeout being called by JR. As Luis Moreno slapping his hand against his thigh, and that's that Tug McGraw style of aggression from Luis Moreno. Is that one that we saw in 2008 when he defeated Paul Brady in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open. He had that huge comeback, coming back from Dave 2-9, 4-9, and then he just started pecking away and ended up beating Paul Brady in that tiebreaker.
Right.
And he was just 17 years of age, and then a couple weeks later in Tucson, Arizona, he defeated Dave Chapman in the finals of that Y2K WPH combined pro stop in November. And it seemed like at that moment, Luis Moreno, his name was etched into the scene, and he's really been either 1, 2, or 3 since that moment.
Yeah, until
this year.
Season. Yeah. Well, remember, Dave, Luis has the second most race rate titles in race rate history with 9. In fact, he won 9 of the first 17 race stops. Since then, he hasn't won one since January of 2014, but Paul Brady came on the scene then, and Luis hasn't really played consistently at that level that we saw from 2007 until early 2014, until right now.
Beautiful shot there from Paul Brady, gets the side out, serving at 8-18.
8 serves 18. Nine serving 18.
And Dave, this game is not over, particularly if Luis is going to feed Paul those
10
short
serving
balls
18.
on serve.
Well, this serve is definitely picked up for Paul. I mean, he's making some incredible serves right now. And Luis takes that modified punch fist and hits it 2 inches high for the side out, 18-10. 19-10 now. Ace serve, unforced error, I should say, from Luis Moreno, but trust me, that's an ace.
19 serving 10.
Man, that left hand from Luis Moreno is on fire today. This is the best I think I've seen it
Game point,
in
serves
8
10.
months.
Hold it, we're gonna take that over.
A little bit of contact as Paul sweeps through, going around
We're
that
gonna take it
revolving
over.
door. Now they're going to play it over. Paul looks back at the referee.
Game point, serving 10.
Maybe I'd get another avoidable there.
There's that same revolving door. Paul Brady puts it down in the right corner, right in front of Luis Moreno, gets the side out at 10-20.
10 serving 20.
Terrible overhit there from Luis Moreno, and then Paul Brady digs it right into the ground, side out. He had the whole right lane open. Dave could have just pushed it down there, went for
Game
the
point,
elite
serves
1-inch
10.
high kill shot. Misses it. Here's game point. Looked like it was short. No appeal.
10
Paul gets the
serves
side
20.
out.
Paul with another error. That's his 9th unforced error of this game, 6th with his right hand.
Did he hit
Game
that about
point,
15
serves
feet
10.
short?
Short.
See if Moreno goes for that 2-wall serve, or will he go
Second
for the
serve.
elite kill? He's going to put a lot of junk on that ball. Paul gets it back.
Game, first game, 5
There
minutes.
it is. Luis Moreno takes down Paul Brady 21-10 in game number 1. And he ends it the way that he started it. Nice kill shot from Moreno. As the two touch hands there at the very end. But Paul Brady certainly has to be thinking to himself, self, this is not the day that I wanted to play my best ball. I mean, he's certainly not doing it.
Well, Self lost the first game to Luis Moreno 21-10 in 2008. Now, I know that's a long time ago, but I can remember sitting there in the front row, and Paul was very composed. He came in the second game, and he basically did to Luis what Luis did to him in that first game, and he did go up 9-2 in the tiebreaker before losing that match. So Paul's been in this situation before. You remember he lost game 1 at the U.S. Open 2015 to Sean Lenning, came back and won game 2 and then won the tiebreaker. But certainly some things are going to have to change for Paul Brady in this second game, and what he'll need a third game as well to come back and win this match, because right now Luis Moreno is overpowering Paul. He's out-serving Paul. He's making less errors. He's moving better, and he's executing better. So Paul's got a lot to think about and a lot to change, but a good start, Dave, to this game, and Paul will be back in the driver's seat in the second game at least with the momentum. It's easier said than done.
We're going to take a 3-minute break. We'll be right back, right around the corner. Game number 2 coming up next at close here. It's the 4-wall USHA National Handball Championships in Fridley, Minnesota. We'll have the conclusion of this match, Paul Brady versus Luis Moreno, coming up next.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. You can use it straight out of the bottle on Tough Grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make multiple bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. From kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Or you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Bring out the action hero in you. Fuel up right and get energized. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Spray straight from the bottle on heavy grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make up to 11 bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out, from kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
At shelters, you'll discover healthy and loving animals just waiting to become a part of your family. Why wait? You can make a difference in the life of an animal. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person and adopt your new best friend today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
We are back here, Dave, in Minnesota, Fridley, for game number 2 as Luis Moreno puts on his gloves, gets ready to see if he can counterpunch what Paul Brady's going to do here. Paul is going to give Luis every single thing he has here in game number 2. Paul does not want to go home. This is the historic year for Paul, the year that he would tie Nadi Alvarado Sr. with number 11. And certainly Paul does not want to go away in the semifinals of this year, nor even in the finals. Of course, he's going to come here, travel this distance, put in all this work. And he's not going to make it easy for Luis, I guess is the point I'm trying to make here. Luis Moreno wins game number 1, and he's now set here in game number 2 to try to see if he can be in the finals of the Four Wall Nationals. It was a game of runs there in game number 1. We saw 2 or 3 4-0 runs, 1 7-0 run. And then at the very end, it was just Moreno scoring points. There were a lot of side outs, but Moreno did score where Paul Brady couldn't do it.
All right, everybody, we're going to start game 2.
Well, Luis
Keep it to a minimum.
clearly outplayed Paul in the first game. And Paul didn't have many opportunities, but the opportunities he did have.
Game 2, Paul will be serving first.
Made a number of errors, and it was Luis Moreno just really cruising there, 21-10.
Score is 0, serving 0.
Game number 2 is live, 0-0. Paul Brady gets that first serve.
Another error for Paul, but pretty good return there from Luis, who pushes Paul back to the 35-foot line.
Serving 0.
Much more likely to make an error from there than you would be from the service box.
Nice.
Remember, it was Paul Brady losing the first game to Luis Moreno in that epic match in Denver a couple of years ago, coming back and winning the match.
Luis plays really close.
Well, that can be used to Paul's advantage. If Luis is playing close on Paul's left hip, then Paul drills a ball behind Luis, who's leaning towards the center of the court, which he did there.
Short ball. He's appealing the short.
I think, Dave, as long as the player's not obstructing your swing or your balance, and he's playing close, you can use that to his disadvantage.
Second serve.
Both of these guys have extreme power, and Luis uses his by jamming the ball right at Paul Brady, who can't get his hand up quick enough. Score here 0-1, side out. The big question here is, can Moreno match the intensity that he brought himself in game number 1?
It's hard to do. First game only took 35 minutes, but it was played at a sprint pace for Luis. Paul Brady knows how to pace himself throughout a match. Another error there from Paul, who takes that ball a little too close to his body. But Dave, I've always regarded Luis as one of the fittest guys on the tour. The only time I've seen him get tired is when he's played Paul Brady. And you see it there. You see how he didn't have his legs under him there, even though he does make that kill shot. That's a very hard shot to make off balance. He does make it there.
1 serving 1. Check the ball.
We're all together at 1 here. That ball hit Luis Moreno on the way up.
1 serving 1.
You're watching the 4-Wall National Handball Championships from Fridley, Minnesota. Not sure what happened here.
I called it good. Didn't see it. You disagree.
I think the ref's going to give this to Luis.
I'm going to call it over.
And he is.
I said it was
I don't
good.
think Paul's going to like that. Referee.
He didn't see it.
Referee's kind of going against himself here. He thought it was good. One line judge didn't see it, and another line judge saw it short. So I guess maybe the referee said,
Same
you know,
score,
I
guys.
wasn't quite sure. And I know a lot of refs
score.
do that. When they see it live, they kind of skeptical about their own decisions.
And you hope that the linesman will bail you out at that point, because you think it probably was short, but I can't call it. But for a referee, one didn't see it, so I think he did the right thing there.
It's tough to do the right thing after Paul Brady hits a
serving
flat
one.
roll out in the corner for a side out, though.
Nice 1-2 punch there from Paul.
Strong left hand down the left wall. 2
serving
points
one.
on the scoreboard now. Game number 2. Brady, if you just tuned in, lost game number 1. 21-10. And he was completely dominated by Moreno. And that was a nice corner kill. Stiletto left corner kill there for Luis Moreno. There's a huge margin of error when you take those wide corner kills from that angle, and Paul just couldn't catch up to it.
Short. He's appealing the serve.
And that will be appealed and might be overturned.
Screened. Called it good. Can you move? Yeah. Yeah, he's moved. You have 1 serve.
So Moreno looks back and sees that the line judge is being screened on
Second
every
serve.
single serve, so he just tells him to move, and the referee agrees. So we have a line judge that has now moved.
Two serving 1.
All that time playing close, but Luis threads the needle just around the outside of Paul's right leg, straight down the right wall.
1 serving 2. He's appealing the
Thought
serve.
Moreno was going to call time out
Disagree?
here, or is he appealing the serve?
Call stands. 2, serving 1.
7 minutes of play here in game number 2, Dave, and
Bad
only
bounce off the back wall.
3 points scored.
Paul Brady points at the bad bounce, gets the call from
Same
the referee.
Score. 2, serving 1. Short ball.
It's a real
Second
quiet
serve.
gallery here at Lifetime Fitness. They really haven't had anything to cheer for here in game number 2. Players both kind of working the ref back and forth.
2, serving 1.
Very, very slow start here.
Not a good serve there from Paul.
Paul goes for an underhand paddle, re-kill, misses it.
And that's basically every pro's favorite shot, is that hanging Z serve that
1,
falls
serving 2.
short 10 feet from the back wall.
Big setup for Moreno. Does he get it? Goes down the middle right to Paul.
Hold it.
No avoidable call there.
Just to take over.
Paul's trying to lobby for it. I would say that would be
Just take
closer
over.
to the avoidable than that previous one. Moreno was drifting with the ball, same as Paul was. Paul hits Moreno directly in the back. You can say Moreno
1,
was trying to get out of the
serving
way,
2.
but didn't really try hard enough. A lot of fish shots between the two of these guys. Moreno goes for the corner kill, gets it, and ties the score at 2. The deuces are wild on the scoreboard.
Beautiful shot there from Luis, who goes down to one knee, keeps that right elbow parallel with the floor by doing so, and hits a great kill in the right corner.
2, serves 2.
And Dave, I think I could have taken some sand from you about an hour ago if I told you that at this point, Luis would have outscored Paul 23-12.
2, serving 2.
I live in Arizona, so I have a lot of sand. I would have probably gladly have taken that bet.
Yeah.
And that's a nice corner kill, side out. Moreno back into the box. Brady's looking for something
What's up?
here.
Seems like he doesn't like something in the back corner there. Maybe a fan. Doesn't like these people walking back and forth.
Score
Dave,
is-
it's
It
tennis
is.
games.
It,
2,
it is
serving 2.
frustrating. There is another way to
Sure.
skin a cat here. You don't have to walk in front of cameras and the show court. You can go around the backside.
Dave, court time is expensive
Second
here at
serve.
Lifetime Fitness. They have a noon court time on these beautiful tennis courts, and they're not going to take the long way, miss out on a couple minutes.
Yeah, but the whole idea of going to a sports club is actually to work out. And if you can't walk 30 extra feet, why are you even there?
Have you seen women's tennis doubles?
This is an incredible,
Call that a workout.
incredible rally right here. As Moreno is being pushed all over the place by Luis Moreno. There's a little bit of contact at the end, but I don't think he's going to get that.
This is kind of like miming, Dave, because the ref can't hear anything from the player.
Not going to give it to you. Score is 2, serving 2.
Dave, handball players become lawyers between points. A lot of litigating.
It's an amazing left-handed kill to the right corner.
Such a difficult shot there.
That's why they call him the natural, Dave. He's just
Two,
able to
serving 2.
naturally hit that ball so lightly with those hands. It's that one shot.
Three, serving 2.
Taken 11 minutes to score these 5 points. A lot of side outs, a lot of shorts, a lot of talking to the referee.
A lot of tennis players walking back and forth.
Well, that's distracting. And there's another point now, I believe. Nope, side out. The ball just squeaks out of the corner for Paul Brady. And another side out. We have it written as 21 side outs here. Don't know your stats on that, but when you have 21 side outs
against just 5 points.
Yeah, that's
great shot there from Paul. I don't think Luis expected that.
Serving three.
Oh, that was a nice shot from Moreno. Doesn't hit the crack, though. This is going to be a big setup. And Paul can't handle it. Ball hits Luis Moreno off to Paul's right-hand side, and that will be a side out again.
Huge hop there from Luis, right at Paul's feet. And that's the hardest shot to handle when you're playing Luis Moreno. And Dave, you know from playing Luis, when he hits those hard hops right at you, you'll need to be lucky just to return them.
Serving three.
Paul with a fake out and a double bouncer down the right. That's the best serve he's hit of the match.
Short ball.
Dave, you know you've hit a great serve against one of these top players when it doesn't even hit a crack.
Second serve.
And it's still not touched before the second bounce.
Paul had to reach for that one. Moreno's putting a lot of spin on these balls. Players playing close there. No contact. Moreno gets the point.
Beautiful shot there. Luis is really keeping Paul off balance with those huge hops.
Serving four.
He needs to finish this shot, the rally, with the next shot after Paul pops up those returns. Paul a lot sharper here, Dave, in game number 2 thus far. I know it's just 7 points in, but looks like he's turned up the intensity quite a bit. He knows he's got to dig in, like you said, between games.
Short ball.
Whew, that ball was almost perfect. Paul's one of the only players out there that can hit a serve that is actually a kill shot.
Second serve.
Moreno takes about 3 steps forward here on the second serve. Paul Brady with a wide swing. Moreno coming in pretty close. Doesn't affect the swing at all, but he also misses the shot. There's another side out. Was a nice corner kill there from Paul Brady, and then he turns right around, immediately calls a timeout. How do you read into that?
I think Paul Brady's feeling a little bit fatigued right now. He's putting a lot into every one of these rallies. He's making a lot of great retrieves. Even though you don't see Paul Brady diving a lot, he's moving a lot side to side and front to back, and it's only 4-3, and he's looking to catch his second wind here in this second game because he knows if he can't separate himself, he's going to really have to push himself to win this second game and force a tiebreaker. Now, on the flip side, Dave, he may be calling a timeout and trying to get his breath for a big run here. In his mind, he'll want to come in the server's box here and score 5, 6, 7 points in a row and build his first cushion of this match.
It was Paul Brady losing game number 1, 10-20. And you wouldn't believe it, but there were a lot of multiple runs in that game, and Paul Brady was part of it. He had a couple 4-point runs, and he still only scores 10. That's because Moreno had his own 4-point run a few times and also a 7-point run that kind of solidified that big lead where Paul just couldn't get enough points on the scoreboard. Luis Moreno takes game number 1. They've been virtually tied here in game number 2, with Paul Brady just taking this late lead here at 4-3. But both have gone back and forth for a very long time. And I would say it's a long time just from the standards that we filmed a lot of these, Dave. And we are already at 17, 18 minutes into game number 2, and we only have 7 points on the scoreboard, but we have 28 side outs.
Well, Dave, the average Paul Brady match is just 38 minutes long. Now, I know most of those are 15-point games.
All right, time in.
But we're already at 56 minutes and just 7 points scored into the second game. I would say we barely started the second game, but we know we've been playing the second game for almost 20 minutes. Just not a lot of points on the board.
Resuming play, the score is 4 serving 3.
It's a great shot right there from Paul Brady, now 5-3.
It's a very difficult shot, even though Paul is so close to the front wall. He has to maintain his balance and execute that paddle kill. And this is exactly what Paul wanted coming out of that timeout. 2 quick points. Now he's got his first real lead of this match. Remember, he only led once in game number 1. That was at 4-3.
6 serving 3.
Never led after. Now he's up by 4.
That's an amazing serve. Paul Brady slides it down the right. Moreno's going to ask for an appeal.
Point.
So Paul Brady's taken 5 swings since the timeout, Dave. 3 points.
7 serving 3.
That's amazing.
Well, at last check, Dave, there were 21 side outs and just 5 points scored up until these last 3 from Paul Brady. And Luis with a terrible error there, and now Luis may need to think about a timeout as things starting to get away from him. And Dave, those are the kind that you may not think about at night, but those make a big difference. Instead of serving at 3-7 and stopping the Paul Brady momentum, now it's 8-3. Paul Brady still serving, but now it's Paul Brady with, it does go down as an unforced error. Surprised that our statistician would count it as such.
3 serving 8.
Because it was, Dave, a tough shot, but it still went against him. I want to thank Linda Manning, Dave, who's counting those particular stats.
Well,
8 serving
usually
3.
when you see Paul Brady go down onto one knee, you wouldn't count it as an unforced error because he's diving for the ball, but I think she's looking at the fact that he was indecisive going for that shot, and he just went down there more of a safety swing.
Well, there is some arbitrary thinking involved in judging the forced versus unforced error, but Linda's got a trained eye.
9
so we
serving
don't
3.
argue with any of her stats. And now Paul's really grooving the serve down the right. And Luis with a timeout. Dave, maybe 2 or 3 points too late?
I think about 3 late,
okay.
Possibly even more.
That's your first.
I mean, Paul was up 4-3, or make that 5-3 during that timeout call, and he scored 5 straight here, maybe even 6. Paul could have had that timeout called against him maybe 5 minutes ago. But, you know, as a player, sometimes you're on the court saying, I know tradition says stop, but I feel good. You know, you have a good feeling about where you're at, but when Paul's hitting those serves, you have to break him out of the rhythm of those serves. So as soon as he got that first one, I say call the timeout there.
Well, the problem is Paul called a timeout at 4-3, came in and scored 3 quick points. But if you call a timeout there, yeah, you've lost 3 straight points, but you just sat down for 60 seconds. You're trying to get yourself re-warmed up to some degree. Now, if you sit down again, that's going to be 2 minutes of sitting and 20 seconds of playing. Not really what you want. You're trying to also get yourself into a rhythm, and most people play better when they've got their heart racing and some sweat going, and I can understand Luis's reluctance to call a timeout there.
We're in the middle of a timeout in game number 2. Best 2 out of 3 to 21, breaker 2-11. This is the semifinals. The winner will face either Killian Carroll or Martin Mulkerns. They're going to come up next on this live broadcast at racefor8.com, courtesy of the World Players of Handball. And we want to say thanks to the President's Club, USHA, for their donations alongside the board of directors of the WPH. And there's now going to be a glove change.
And Dave, bring your lunch pail and hard hat to that second match. It's going to be a grinding, hard-working classic. Very similar to the U.S. Open in Pittsburgh, the blue-collar U.S. Open. This is going to be that same kind of match. It's going to be scrappy. It's going to be fun to watch. And Dave, I think we could see the 2 semifinal matches today take longer than the 4 quarterfinal matches of yesterday combined. Already at an hour in this semifinal match. Yesterday, Dave, 5 hours and 5 minutes combined for the 4 quarterfinal matches. So.
Well, don't you think this one, though, has been scrappy and it's also an epic? I mean, it looks like it's obviously in the favor of Brady, but does Moreno want to try to close out and step it up a notch and make this part of history as well? I mean, anytime you beat Paul Brady, it's part of history. I know you're talking about the second match, but this one right here could very well be just like what you're thinking the second one's going to be like.
That's true. I wasn't anticipating a scrappy blue-collar match here, but it's become that. And I think the second match is almost guaranteed to be just that. But of course, Dave, Luis wants to close out this match, but right now finds himself down 10-3. And of course, if he's going to win this game and win this match in this second game, he'll need to outscore Paul Brady 18-10 in the remainder of this game just to win 21-20. Now, of course, last game he did win 21-10, so it's possible. But you'd have to think the way things are going right now, it's improbable. Now, for you Moreno fans out there, and there's a lot of them, and I'm one of them, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying if you had sand, I don't think you would bet on that necessarily.
It looks to me as if Paul Brady's a little bored here, and he's looking at the referee. Watch, he's going to try to get the referee's attention. Like, what's going on here?
Well, the referee does not have a stopwatch, so if I'm Luis Moreno,
Luis, can you get...
You tell me how much time I have left.
Well, I can tell you because I actually put the stopwatch on. Moreno's would be, technically, he would get 3 minutes. He got that first 60 seconds,
okay.
And right when the referee said time in, he called a 2-minute glove change. Now, I have it still in the 2-minute mark right now, so Moreno's still not at 3. And though the referee's chirping at Moreno and Brady's, like, impatient, throwing the ball at the referee to try to get his attention, we still haven't hit the 3-minute mark, and I'll tell you when it happens.
But of course, Dave, 2 things in play there. Paul Brady leading, that 3 minutes to him is going to feel like an eternity because he just wants to start playing.
Mark, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's the 3-minute mark right there.
Okay.
And now Moreno just put his gloves down.
But also, the glove change is up to 2 minutes, not necessarily 2 minutes.
I understand that, but you see that he still didn't have his gloves on right there. He was in the court putting them on. So that up to part went right up to the exact second when Moreno put his hands down.
Well, we picked up where we left off. Luis Moreno with the left hand air on the return of serve. And Dave, this is what happens when you play Paul Brady. And most people are not good enough or fortunate enough to win even a game against him. But after being on the court with him for 30, 45 minutes or an hour, the air is kind of let out of your balloon. You don't have any
12,
energy.
serving 3.
And I've seen that against players that have taken down Paul Brady in one game or come close in one game and aren't close in the next game because you just
13,
don't have that
serving 3.
same energy level that you had in scoring all those points. And now Paul Brady's making it look easy.
I think Moreno's letting this go
14,
here.
I think at this point it'd be wise for him to do so. You're much better off playing to 11 than you are trying to outscore Paul Brady 18-6. You can only have to outscore him 11-10 as opposed to 18-6. And if you come up short, now you have even less energy to go for the 11-10. But then again, Dave, we don't like to see somebody just let a game go either. And I'm sure when you're in the court, it's the last thing from your mind.
Little screen there, no call. Now it is called by the players. That's why the referee said thank you.
15, serving 3.
And as slow as this game was to start off, when it was 3-4, now it's rather quickly putting points on the scoreboard. Moreno now serving at 3-15.
3, serving 15.
And now Luis going to a lob serve.
Boy, Brady wasn't even ready there after that ball was thrown into play. Referee called a very quick serve. Brady throwing his hands up a little bit, not looking at the referee, but I know was disrupted with that serve.
Maybe frustrated that he hit the ceiling and then the floor.
Maybe, but that was a very quick serve. I mean, I wouldn't know anything like that, of course.
No.
Five, serves 15.
Thought that was short. That serve is not Paul Brady's favorite, by the way. And Moreno had a pretty good shot at
15,
possibly even getting a
5.
point there and hits the ball into the ground. 5-15, or excuse me, 15-5 here. Paul misses that ball off the back wall. I mean, Dave, even though you have to score 11 in the tiebreaker, if Moreno scored 11 now, he'd be leading Paul Brady with the chance to win.
But it would have to be 11-0 to take the lead.
15, serving 5.
Make that 16-5. Beautiful serve again.
16,
Ace from
serving
Paul
5.
Brady. And he's really bringing out his serves here in game number 2. Moreno goes revolving door, left corner kill right in front of Brady there, and now 5-16. Moreno sticks with that underhand serve. Does Paul go over the line? Any part of Paul's body that goes over that line, Dave. Referee didn't call it, didn't matter. There's a point there for Moreno, 6-16. As soon as Moreno turned his back on that underhand lob serve, Paul barreled in. Now Moreno's going to move his position a little bit.
Oh, that's a mouse from Paul Brady.
You know, Dave, talking about that, letting the game go. I think when you're playing an aging player who looked like he struggled in game number 1, also might have an injury, I think you would play hard in game number 2, at least hard enough to keep him on the court as long as you possibly can.
Second serve.
I think you kind of throw out the record books in the tiebreaker, regardless. Anything can happen in the tiebreaker. You see guys who seem like they're exhausted winning tiebreakers all the time. And you also run the risk of tying yourself out doing that. But I would certainly never advocate throwing the game away.
Well, it looked like Moreno was doing that early, but now he's got some amazing serves going here. 7-16. He's trying to get on to another 5-point run or so, more, obviously.
Well, Moreno needs 11 to assure that he'll serve first in the tiebreaker.
Could be a big setup here for that amazing left hand from Moreno. Now Brady has a big setup. These two are trading setups, and Brady gets the best of Moreno back in the server's box at 16-7. That was an amazing shot. Brady does it again, now 17-7.
17 serving 7.
That's a shot that Paul's mastered, coming over the top on that wide revolving door.
Paul Brady has made more errors in this match than I think I've ever seen him in any match. The exception might be that New York Athletic Club pro stop against Robbie McCarthy.
8 serving 17.
I should say Mondo Ortiz a couple years back.
But also against McCarthy in that same tournament.
Crowd hasn't had a lot to cheer for here in game number 2 after a lot of fireworks there in game number 1 between the two.
Serving 8.
Great shot from Paul. A cross-court pass just put in the perfect spot. So hard to do.
19 serves 8.
Paul now 2 points from sending this match to a tiebreaker. And Dave, Paul has not played a lot of tiebreakers in his Nationals conquest that started in 2005 that's seen him go undefeated since 2005.
I can only remember a couple times.
You remember he beat Tony Healy in 2008, 11-9 in a tiebreaker.
Game point serves 8. Short ball. Second serve.
And Dave, I don't know if there's been any others. We've seen him go to a tiebreaker at the U.S. Open a couple of times.
I thought there was one against Nani Alvarado in 2006 at Los Cab.
That was the U.S. Open.
No, Los Cab that year.
They played the U.S. Open and the Nationals at the same place that year. The U.S. Open did go to a tiebreaker. The Nationals didn't. 21-2, 21-18 for Brady.
18, that was right. That high score in that second game, I thought there was going to be a comeback there. And Brady serving here to take game number 2 to force a breaker. Little screen, no call. Paul lifts a hand. Doesn't matter. A little amnesia there from Paul. Shakes Luis Moreno's hand. It was 21-10 in favor of Moreno in game number 1. 2 here, though, has Brady winning 21-8. And now we're going to go into 11-point breaker.
Hard to know what to expect going into the tiebreaker, Dave, but Paul Brady's been in this situation. We've seen him push to tiebreakers before and win just about every one of them, the exception being, you know, against Mondo Ortiz at the 2014 Players' Championship and against Luis Moreno in 2008.
Well, there's a lot to digest here. We have 11 points to figure it out. We'll be back in just a few. Give us about 4 minutes, and we'll have the conclusion of this match between Paul Brady and Luis Moreno from the USHA 66th United States Handball Association's 4-wall National Handball Championships as we stream it for you live at racefor8.com. Stick with us.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Oh, listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun?
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
It's Timothy Green's first day at school.
What's in there? He's about to fall over.
Anything he might need. There's a box of tissues on the bottom and some Band-Aids. There's a whole first aid kit, actually.
Mom, I can handle it from here.
You don't have to be perfect.
Have a great day.
That's too much pressure.
Have the day you have.
To be a perfect parent.
There are two people in the world who want you more than anything. They'll make some mistakes, but they will love you more than you can ever imagine.
There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
In 1905, Thomas Beverly Pennock settled out west to start a family construction business. Over 100 years and 5 generations later, T.B. Pennock & Sons continues on today. From our world-class concrete at the San Diego airport to our recovery efforts in New York after Hurricane Sandy, we take pride in what we build, and we will never forget who we build for. We are T.B. Pennock & Sons.
It's time to join forces. Get energized and fuel up right. Because starting today, every kid in America has a mission. Bring out the action hero in you. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
Back in Minnesota, Fridley at Lifetime Fitness as we enter minute number 5 here. Paul Brady standing outside the court. So is Luis Moreno. It's the tiebreaker. Well, Paul Brady, he wins that first one. Loses the first one 21-8, then wins the next one. I'm going to get this backwards. He wins the next one 21-8, loses the first one 10-21. He's going to get the first serve. We're going to 11. Could have rehearsed that during the 7-minute timeout, but thought my brain could take care of it there, Dave Fink.
We talked about a lot of important things during that 7-minute break that's ongoing. I think from that Paul Brady was pushed to a tiebreaker in 2006 at Los Caballeros by Tony Healy, winning that one 11-10. Now, I can't confirm that, Dave. That was reported by Paul Fitzpatrick. of Ireland, one of Ireland's top handball writers. Writes for rollout.com, so we're gonna go ahead and take his word for that. Take credit for it if he's right, and no credit if he's wrong.
It makes sense to me that would have been the score. It's officially been 8 minutes on my stopwatch here in between games.
Wow. You almost need another warm-up, Dave. Yesterday at the U.S. Open, players were pulled off the course for an hour and 9 minutes, and they were upset they didn't get to warm up. Well, these guys may need to go through a full warm-up again, Dave, after this break.
There's a rule in golf, right, that you can't go back to the driving range or pitching area while you're actually on the course playing?
No, the tournament can determine if the break's been long enough, you can go to the range.
They didn't allow that yesterday?
They didn't, no.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, the referee should allow it here.
I think the players need to hit the treadmill.
No,
get the sweat going.
We're seriously now into the 9th minute here in between games. 9 minutes now.
And Paul Brady seems to have problems with his gloves. He's always taking one off and putting a new one on. Don't know why that same glove would still be in the bag, because I've seen him do it so many times. Wouldn't you, if a glove didn't fit you right, Dave, just get rid of it? Don't put it back in your bag so you're going to put it on in another match. I know you have to start every match, Dave, with brand new equipment because you threw away all your equipment from the previous match.
Well,
some people actually reuse their gloves.
If I threw it away from the previous match, it means I lost, which means I wouldn't be playing another match.
Well, I'm talking about 6 months later, after all the surgeries you had to repair that one match that you played. Dave, it's possible that the time between games could take longer than this actual tiebreaker.
All right, game three's about to start, everybody.
Oh, it's about to start. We still have more time. I'm not a stickler when it comes to time.
Not at all.
Game three. The score is 0 serving 0.
And that's how quickly that advantage can be lost. Serving first in the tiebreaker seems like
serving 0.
Such a huge advantage, but then you serve one off the back wall and that's over. Paul Brady with a very easy opportunity there to earn the side out, and he puts the ball in the floor. Dave, that's about the easiest shot Paul Brady could imagine.
Luis Moreno here at 1-0, going to 11.
Second serve.
Luis likes jamming this ball into that left wall really low and hard. And Luis has scored points on that exact same second serve sequence already in this match. Paul Brady has to barrel back up to that front wall as Luis goes for the first strike, gets the second point.
Great start here for Luis. 3 rallies played, he's won all 3. A side out and 2 points. Can't do better than that.
Big setup for Moreno. Oh, that's a great shot right there. Paul Brady looks back immediately. He thinks that Moreno shadowed in front of him during that rally. I didn't see it, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
3 serving 0.
3-0 is the score here, going to 11 now. And this looks like a different Moreno.
Dave, Moreno has outscored Paul Brady by 1 point in this match, but more importantly, he leads 3-0 in this tiebreaker. That was an important side out for Paul Brady.
0 serving 3.
Oh, what was that? The crowd really quiet there, but that was an amazing
3 serving
right
0.
corner kill. Should be 3-0 should be the score with Moreno serving.
And Dave, how much do nerves play a part right now for both guys, if at all?
Well, I think this is exactly why you play, right? You want to be pushed. You want to overcome adversity, and I think the nerves are part of all of that. If you don't have nerves, then you might not be human. So I think they want this situation. Look at that shot from Luis Moreno. My gosh, left-handed, off balance, stand-up position, left corner kill.
3 serving 0.
Nice pass from Paul. Paul Brady has only hit 1 kill shot in this tiebreaker so far. That goes down as a pass.
0 serving 3.
Crazy bounce right there. Moreno had to flip around, lost his eye guards. The game is still going here. There was contact. Clearly, referee didn't stop the play at all. Crazy play. Eye guards get thrown off of Moreno's face here. I don't know why the ref wouldn't call a stop and play there, Dave. Moreno clearly got the ball back. The rally continued on. Moreno had to hit another shot after that Paul Brady put down for a kill.
He wanted it. What do you mean you fell? It cracked
Dave,
out
watch
on you,
this.
you fell?
There was a
That's
crazy
fine.
bounce. There's contact. Knocks the eye guards off. Moreno has to hit another shot right there.
See, now what I think is Paul Brady should have been given that shot after he hopped over Luis.
Ample time to get
Wait, that's when the hinder shouldn't be called. Because now Luis is on the ground. He's been hit. His eye guards are off from being hit.
Yeah, I mean, Moreno is on the ground. Paul Brady jumps over the top of Moreno and kicks off his eye guards. Watch this.
But I like how our referee allowed the play to continue.
But you can only
after
let
he
it continue
jumps
one
up. Right,
shot.
one shot. So I agree with this.
Now watch.
Now Paul has his shot here.
And Paul knocks off the eye guards of Luis Moreno. Now Luis looks back. He could clearly get back into position to hit this if he doesn't look back at the referee. Gets his hand on it.
Well, the ref is Luis couldn't have got that ball back, which is his opinion. And I think that's why he called the point for Paul.
There it is. Moreno breaks that momentum, and that's what you have to do after a terrible shot or call. At least you think it might be terrible. That's the player.
Oh my. And Dave, the crowd not so quiet after that miss. A collective groan.
1 serving 3. Short. Second serve. Hold it, hold it.
It's an avoidable, right? You called one earlier.
So.
You called one earlier that was worse.
Doesn't mean you have to make 2 bad calls just because you made
Well,
1.
That was more of an avoidable than that first one. That was Paul drifting up in front and walking directly in front of Luis Moreno there.
Short.
Well, that also wasn't a setup that Paul either walked in front of or didn't get out of the way.
Luis doesn't know that. He didn't see it.
Yeah.
I know, horrible argument. 1-3, going to 11. Wow, I like that shot right back down the right wall. We've seen that 1,000 times in practice.
If Luis can convert his opportunities, Dave, he's going to win this tiebreak. He's getting setups in almost every rally. The challenge for him, as he gets a ace serve there, can he convert these on the first opportunity? He needs just 7 points to win this match now. Not many have been able to say in the last 11 nationals that they needed just 7 points to take out Brady. In fact, Dave, Tony Healy's the only one that could have said it, and he couldn't say it since 2008.
1 serving 4. Hold it.
Now, you remember, Dave, Charlie Shanks took a 4-0 lead on Paul Brady at the 2014 Simple Green U.S. Open semifinals. Paul went on to win that tiebreaker 11-4.
Okay. 1 serving 4.
Just giving you some background, Peter.
Thank you.
Short ball. Second serve.
Now Paul Brady going with that underhand second serve here. Oh, and Moreno hits that ball just 2 inches high. Crowd puts their hands together.
That's a shot.
4 serving 1.
Kill shot and a side out. A lot of side outs here.
1 serves 4.
Amazing. Luis Moreno able to kill the ball in front of Paul Brady.
One agrees, other disagrees. Call stands.
And Paul is not wanting to leave that service box area.
Well, this was, as you recall earlier,
Score is
the referee
4 serving 1.
gave the same exact situation in favor of Luis Moreno, and this one goes in favor of Luis Moreno when it happened to Paul.
And there's some contact there, it looked like.
And there's a point now for Luis.
And Dave, now it's starting to become a reality here, a possibility. Now, I know Luis won that first game, but there was never a point in that second game where you thought he could win this. Now, for the first time, there is that possibility and feeling.
Oh, Luis jumps over the top of that ball. Dave, you've done that before yourself, and I don't know how it could even happen, but when you dive in for a ball, there's a time when you don't think you're going to get to it, and then you jump over it and actually swing over the top of that. What happens there? Did you bump your elbow, or it's just a weird timing issue?
Yeah.
Paul Brady gets his second point now, 2-5. There, you say to yourself, I'm not going to get to this ball, but I'm going to dive for it anyway and give it my best, and then you go over the top of it.
Dave, I think Paul Brady needs to start shooting the ball more here. But just as I say that, Paul jams the ball right into Luis and forces the Moreno error, cuts the Moreno lead in half with these last 2 points. Now trailing, as you can see, 3-5.
I called it good. He's appealing the serve. One agrees, the other disagrees. Call stands.
Frustrating as a player, Dave, when one disagrees and you know that he's probably
4
right,
serving 5.
but you got a 2-1 majority against you.
I think there's only been one time that both line judges agreed.
Or both even saw it.
5 serving 4.
Great serve and kill from Luis.
Six serving 4.
Make that 7. Luis Moreno with 2 swings in each of the last 2 rallies, scoring 2 points. And Paul will go to the towel now. Very rare to see Paul go to the towel, Dave, and I think this could be a way to take a timeout without actually taking a timeout. This is certainly going to be a way to cool off Luis Moreno and let him think about what he's about to do should he win 4 more points.
Well, I see these players conserve timeouts, but then at the end of the day, they're not using all their timeouts anyway. So why conserve? Just take them. You can't go into the locker room with 2 timeouts.
Serving 4.
7-4 is the score. Scoreboard says 3, but we'll fix that. Make that 8-4 now.
Oh my gosh.
And just like that, Moreno is rolling here in the tiebreaker with no timeout call, the official timeout. Oh, Luis is going down to one knee here, playing really hard. And an exclusive elite left corner kill from Paul Brady.
Huge shot there from Paul. He needed that one. And Paul puts it in the ground. Unbelievable, Dave. And you have to think nerves played some part in that miss. Paul hits a beautiful right corner kill, which Luis digs out, gives Paul a huge setup.
Timeout. Timeout called at 8-4.
Dave.
That's your first.
Paul puts that in the ground. Now, going into that rally, Dave, even though Paul was trailing 4-8, crunching the numbers based on who Paul Brady is and his success in tiebreakers, he was still at 52% to win this match. Now, after missing that shot and Luis coming in to serve at 8-4, Luis now stands at 65% chance to win this match based on probabilities. I don't know if you followed all that, Dave.
I did follow it.
Okay.
It's a 1-minute timeout being called on the floor here. Paul Brady asking for it after that big setup miss. He was serving at 4-8, and now Moreno's going to be serving at 8-4.
I believe it was Moreno who called that timeout.
Oh, really? Okay.
Paul Brady trailed Tony Healy 10-6 in 2006 at Los Cab at the Nationals and
We're
came
still
back to
on
win.
that?
Well, I'm just giving some background as to what could happen in this match. Paul Brady has faced deficits before in tiebreakers, 10-6, as I said. Now he's down 8-4. So not insurmountable for Paul Brady.
But he has to think all the way back 10 or 11 years in order for him to remember that he can
Paul
do that.
is studying sports psychology, Dave. He's getting his master's degree in it, and he knows that you want to find those moments which you came through under pressure. And maybe he will go all the way back to 2006.
Okay, so maybe the 24-year-old Brady versus the 35-year-old Brady there might be a difference there. Or maybe there's similarities between the two.
Well, they are the same person, 10 years apart.
Well, let's see if Paul can do it. If he can tap back into his 25-year-old self.
Resuming play, the score is 8 serves 4. Short ball. I called
Short ball appealed by Luis Moreno.
Agree. Second serve.
Both line judges agree there. Second serve. Luis going with that. Is Paul getting so close to that approach line?
But Paul takes control of the rally by moving up and taking that serve out of the air.
4 serving 8. Short ball.
Wow, that's a late short ball to call, right?
Second serve. Hold it. Hold it, hold it. Take it over, contact. Same score, 4 serves 8. Short ball. Second serve.
Such an amazing shot, Dave. And I don't see anyone able to execute that type of revolving door shot like Paul Brady. So hard to do. Luis does what he has to do. He limits Paul to just 1 point there.
8 serving 5.
He can trade points now with Paul Brady.
Short ball.
I don't think we'll see Luis go to that underhand
Second
lob
serve.
again. the result's the same. A terrible second serve there from Luis gives Paul a huge setup. Luis doesn't even give himself a chance to hit another shot.
Short ball.
Neither player able to locate their first serve over the line in the middle of this tiebreaker.
Second serve.
And that's the best Z serve Paul Brady's hit in this match.
Serving 8. Seven serving 8.
Dave, just like that?
Just like that.
Wow.
Oh, that's going to be a huge setup for Paul. And he puts it away and ties the score at 8.
Eight serving 8. Short ball. Second serve.
Find that same spot on the Z serve that he did 2 rallies ago. Right on the ball.
And Paul's appealing something there after dipping that ball in. He turns around to the referee and appeals, I believe, the serve.
No, he was asking for a screen on 3 shots before that, but clearly, Dave, he would have wanted that back wall setup.
8. Short ball. Second serve.
Has to be questioning himself. What do I do on this second serve?
These guys are both crossing each other's paths virtually on every shot. And Paul hits a elite left kill shot right down the lane.
Sometimes you just have to go for it.
Paul goes for it again and gets the 9th point.
And now a timeout for Luis. His second, I believe, Dave.
9 serves 8.
Luis will have 1 minute to try and regroup here. Dave, remember, he led 8-4, and it felt like Luis was just 1 or 2 shots from really icing this match. And instead, Paul Brady now with 5 straight points and counting. He'll come in serving after this timeout. Dave, what can Luis do here?
Well, Luis was able to get rolling there midway through this tiebreaker after he already had a nice lead to begin with. And he did it because he was aggressive playing up front and pushing Paul Brady. Right now, it looks like Brady's pushing Moreno back and forth.
9 serves 8, Paul.
But it's, you know, you can't say that all of a sudden I'm going to be more aggressive than you and I'm going to push you around, because it's all dependent on what Paul Brady does with his shots. And I think Paul is putting Luis in terrible positions where Luis is playing defense, though it's very good defense. I don't think it's enough to put Paul Brady into a bad position. And then when Luis has a chance to execute, he hasn't.
Well, I think it starts with Luis's return of serve. He's not defending Paul's serve well here, particularly in these last 5 points that Paul has scored, giving Paul a lot of setups. Paul's not putting away the first strike opportunity, but he is putting Luis on the run and forcing Luis to just flip balls back. And ultimately, Paul is finding the bottom board. You saw in that last rally, Luis gave Paul a big revolving door setup. Paul pinched the right corner. Luis able to dig it out, but 2 shots later, Paul still in control and ends the rally with a kill shot. So Luis has to find a way to push Paul into the backcourt on the return of serve while not giving him a back wall opportunity. Very hard to do, but it's what Luis was able to do early in this tiebreaker.
9 serving 8.
Amazing serve from Paul. Reverse double bouncer down the left.
Match point. Serving 8.
See if Paul gets emotional if he scores his last point here. And he got it. puts his hands together, throws them in the air, and the crowd is going to give a standing ovation. What a great showing for Luis Moreno, but I know he doesn't want to hear that. This is all Paul Brady, tapped into his inner self from 2005 2006, 25-year-old Brady, when he had to come back from a similar position against Tony Healy at the Nationals. He does it here. He was down 4-8, comes back, wins 11-8 here to go into the finals, and a chance to tie Nadi Alvarado Sr.
It was an incredible match. First two games lopsided, the tiebreaker anything but. Luis Moreno has to be just absolutely crushed. He put everything on the line. He played so well. He was 3 points from winning this match, leading 8-4. And it's Paul Brady, though, who comes through like he always seems to do. You've seen him win tie 10, 11-9, now 11-8 here today, and drew on all that past success and all of his amazing skills. And even though it didn't look like he had his best stuff, particularly early in the first game today, he found a way to do what he had to do. And Dave, he'll be playing for his, as you said, 11th national title. This is the 11th year he's in the finals of the last 12, 11th year that he'll be in the finals in his last 11 finals national starts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like LeBron James. You know, you can say everything or anything you want to say about him and say, well, he'll never be a Dave Chapman, or he'll never be a Nadi Alvarado Sr. or a Jimmy Jacobs, until you realize out of the 11 that he's played, he's made it to the finals 11 straight times out of the 11 tournaments that he's played. I mean, that's...
I don't know who's saying he will never beat these people. I mean, he's clearly one of the greatest, if not the greatest, that's ever played.
But you see these people. Yesterday, there's a bout going back and forth on social media about people claiming that, you know, Paul Brady's not even in the top 5, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, right now he's standing right next to Nadi Alvarado Sr. I mean,
Right.
they're standing together, and you can't even debate that. Paul Brady's going for his 11th, his personal 11th straight. That will never happen again in handball.
Right.
It just won't.
No.
And you can see why. Even the most focused guy in the history of our handball lives, Paul Brady, is finding it very difficult in these last couple of years. In a time when people say that the talent is watered down, Paul Brady's finding it very difficult with life and work and obligations and potential marriages and things like that going on. In the latter part of a great athlete's career, he finds that very difficult to do. I find it that some of these, what I call haters out there, you're chasing a ghost, okay? You're chasing a ghost that's not playing anymore, and you're being compared to how great that person is. And then if you actually just equal to him with your 11th win, those same people still won't give you the credit. So you're chasing a ghost and it's purposely meant that you'll never get the same amount of credit. So no matter what you do, even if you say, well, I'm gonna win 4 straight world championships and dominate over a 12-year span, or make that a 15-year span, make that 5 world championships over an 18-year, 15-year span, you know, you're still chasing a ghost, and you still can't do remarkable things and still get the credit. Paul Brady deserves the credit. That's all I'm saying.
I think there's a lot more Paul Brady supporters and admirers than there are haters. So there may be that odd 5 to 10% that are hating, but I think the rest are admirers and very respectful and incredibly appreciative for how great he is. And I think even if you talk to some of these great players that you mentioned, the ghosts that he's chasing, they're going to tell you the same thing. This guy's an amazing player. He'd be amazing in any era.
Well, it's going to be fun watching him tomorrow, and we are going to see who he is going to play coming up next. It's either Killian Carroll from County Cork, or from the city of Galway, just down the road, is it Martin Mulcairns? We're going to find out. Best 2 out of 3 to 21, breaker to 11. That semifinal of this lower bracket coming up next for Dave Fink, Linda Manning, as well as Ben Manning. My name is Dave Vincent. You've watched the continued coverage from the World Players of Handball of the 66th USHA 4-Wall National Handball Championships from Lifetime Fitness in Fridley, Minnesota. We'll have more coverage coming up next.